Kia ora koutou e te whānau. Welcome back to another edition of Big Hairy News. Kia ora, Chewie. How are you, love?
Oh, looking forward to a nice brief show.
Because we've got to cut the cake at the end because it's your last show as well. It's like you're going on holiday. Yeah, I mean, Peter's already got in there and done the same thing. Slow news day. Don't know how they'll fill the show. Yes, whānau. Obviously, in our world, the world of political tragics, the world of people who live their life on the internet, the world of independent YouTube news, it's been a huge day with the assassination, the murder of Charlie Kirk. So we will be going into that. We will be probably featuring that pretty heavily for the foreseeable future. Gold just wants to remind us only 464 days to go, by the way. Just it's good that Citizen Gold knows exactly when the next election day is and the Prime Minister hasn't said it yet, I don't think. But there you go. Thank you, Gold. Appreciate the heads up. And so we've got a couple of other stories. We've got Kahurangi Carter coming up in a second to talk about how we should be looking after our tamariki. We are going to have a look as well because it's, we could skip over it. I don't know if it's newsworthy so much, Chewie, but Kieran on breakfast this morning was a little bit legendary. So maybe it's a little bit of light.
Newsworthy.
Yeah. I don't think he had his tweed on though, so he wasn't taking it quite as seriously as he normally does. And other news as well. So we are definitely going there. I just said to Chewie beforehand, and it's always dangerous saying this because when I say this out loud, it doesn't normally happen. But because it is such a big news day in our world, like we watch these people and we're sort of doing New Zealand versions of these people. We're obviously doing the majority reports, not the TPUs, but others in our space are doing the version of the TPUs, that we might even open up Discord if we've got time for a bit and give you guys a chance to come and say good day. Assuming it's all working, Chewie, because I did notice Windows did a lovely update last night. And thankfully, with their updates, everything changes. So we'll see what happens. Before we get into it, I'm 90% sure that before midnight tonight, I will have ordered that are supposed to be able to turn up by mid-July, just in time for Christmas, these 5 options, right? This is not signed, sealed, delivered yet. There's still going to get over it. It was just too much and too expensive to try and get all 7. So these are the 5 I've settled on for now. The Chewie Fufu, the 4 heads, the Nicky No Boats, the classic black BHN. Not going to do the white BHN just yet because that had to give 2 of them away. So we're not going to do the white BHN just yet. We will do it later, but not just yet. The classic black BHN and Chewie. The tax work less, tax wealth more. And I had to put the fuck around, find out on hold. So probably before the night's out, I will have signed that contract and possibly even paid it for these cups. 25 days of manufacturing, I've been told, and then up to 45 days to deliver on the old, I think they're using a second-hand Corolla, Chewie, to bring them across from China to New Zealand. So that puts us right about the middle of November if we get it done, just in time for Christmas. So there you go. All right, Chewie. Anything? You've actually brought something to the table as well about the Charlie Kirk thing, which I mixed. But should we keep that on hold for a bit and see if it's right when we get to the?
I think we'll cover it all in one hit. There's so much. Anybody that follows me on Blue Sky and that has seen that I've just been grabbing every little interesting nugget there. So I think, in the words of a great man, I'll keep my powder dry for now. But in honour of one of the things that I'll bring up, I'm wearing my best Tim Pool cosplay.
Yeah, nice. Are you getting Russian money while we're doing it? Is that how you're paying for your trip with Russian money?
Fucking not. No, there's no Russian money, but
okay.
The man just keeps on winning, and we'll cover that off a little bit later on in the show.
All right, guys, stay with us. If you've got a question or a comment whilst we're talking to Kahurangi, feel free to whack it in the chat. Remember, super chats aren't guaranteed that they'll be asked. That's how we got to roll, or else you cheeky blighters do 1 million super chats and we can't get our questions out. But you're welcome to put a chat in there if you've got a question or a comment. And as I said, for later on tonight, we'll see how. I think if we could get Discord open tonight, it might be nice. because there's a lot going on in our world. When I say our world, I mean your world as well, who sit on the internet and look at the news. Okay, let's get into this. Let us welcome to the show from the Greens. It is Kahurangi Carter. Kia ora and welcome.
Kia ora. Thanks so much for having me.
Kia ora.
Yeah, you're welcome. We've missed you the last couple of weeks. There's been a bit of flu kicking around.
Yeah, I really appreciate you letting me just get better.
Yeah,
and yes, heaps of people are sick, eh? So have your veggies. Make sure you stay hydrated, and yeah, hopefully you don't get this sicky thing that's going around. It's not fun.
Here's the big question, because this is interesting what we're doing in society. Did you do a COVID test?
I did do a COVID test.
Oh, you did? Okay, lots of people aren't.
Yeah, I also learned about this this new test they've got. They've got like the RSV, the virus, so I didn't do one of those, but I did do a COVID test because I got kids, and you got
to be that way, eh? And just so you know, everyone in the chat saying hi,
no.
even a hand, get your flu shots. There you go. They're all over the place. Yeah, man. Right. Let's talk about your, what do you call it? An initiative, an idea, a policy? How do you classify what we're going to talk about?
All of those things, but we're calling it our children's campaign.
Yep. From the Green website, this is also, I think I put this in the show notes so people can go reading it for themselves. Our tamariki deserve better. Read our promises below. Every child in Aotearoa deserves to grow up with safety and stability wrapped in aroha. The thing that I love about you greenies sometimes is that you say things that, how could anyone disagree with that? No matter where you sit on the political spectrum, everyone would agree with that. You have made 7 promises. Every child's whānau and whakapapa must be censored. Every child must be free from poverty. Every child must be supported every step of their journey. Every child must be heard, respected, and placed at the heart of decision-making. Every child must be protected. Every child must have a stable, nurturing home. And finally, every child is cared for by a well-supported workforce. What we normally do here is pretty much just throw you the ball now, Kahu, and just that's what we're laying out, and that's what we want to know more about. Tell us about it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for reading the promises out, because I was going to rattle them off.
Done.
We've seen over this term and previous to this term as well, kids in care not have safety, security, and aroha. And we had a massive apology almost a year ago. The Royal Inquiry into Abuse in State Care, which is just horrific. Over 200,000, probably 250,000 kids were abused in state care in New Zealand, did an inquiry. The government accepted it and apologized. And now they are going against some of these recommendations. So we're talking about, I think there was 233 recommendations, 207 of them were for the government. Some of them were for state-based care, faith-based care. And so far, only 19 have been accepted. I think about 38 have been, the intent is to accept them. And then we've seen them go completely against some of them. These are things like repealing Section 7AA, that tamariki have a right to their whakapapa. They have a right to know where they're from, who they are, where they're from. And we heard from survivors through the reports that they so painstakingly shared, was that this caused them trauma and that they never want any other child to experience that. So as well as being part of the UN Declaration on the Rights of the Child and Waitangi Tribunal reports and so many other things, and then establishing boot camps. A whole chapter is dedicated in the inquiry to why we should not have boot camps, and legislating being able to use force from a third-party contractor on children. Like, if we can't keep our kids safe, like what kind of country are we? And even today in the House, we had Minister McKee speaking on behalf of the Minister for Children. One of the questions put to her was, what do you say to the reported 4,000 kids being kept in prison, in jail overnight, in cells, some up to 8 days. And this has gone up from like 48. So like, what are we doing? We need to keep our kids safe. And that's what this is about. It's about making sure that we listen to the kids. We've developed this alongside kids that have been through the system. We've developed it with the people that are actually doing the mahi at the Flax Roots. And one of the, we've had lots of feedback on it because it's not perfect. We want to keep working together to improve and to listen to the people that know best what's happening out there. But one of the best bits of feedback we had was a kid who's been through the system said, I could have written this myself, you know, this is what I want. And so that we know we're on the right track there. And so what we're asking is the Minister for Children to adopt these 7 promises, these 7 duties of care to kids. And what you can do is sign our open letter. We're going to hand it over to the Minister for Children. And yeah, there it is. You can sign it and say, we want to centre tamariki in every single government decision, because that's not happening at the moment.
You talk about kids in state care, and you talk about the abuse that we all know that's been well publicised. The other place that kids obviously face abuse is in the home. What is the kind of focus from the Greens on, is there a diversification between those two groups? How do you do it to help the kids who have been abused in state care become child-focused, but also, you know, the kids in the home that are suffering at the hands of abuse more often than not from a parent or from an adult within that community?
Absolutely. This is the reality of the country we're living in right now. And we need to put in those prevention measures so that no kid is ever harmed. Our littlies deserve that. And what we've seen from this government is a slashing of funding to protection care agencies. That means their focus has moved well away from prevention, so that harm never happens, to punishment. And just yesterday we were questioning and talking with the Children's Commissioner and the Independent Children's Monitor on this scathing report that came out from the Auditor General's office around Oranga Tamariki's procurement practices. So when Nicola Willis brought in this, we need fiscal restraint and we need to have this blanket 6%, cuts from all ministries. Oranga Tamariki had 6.5% cuts. And that's when we saw Oranga Tamariki closing and not funding all of these safety care agencies. So now they are not there. We heard the minister call them cash cows. This report has said that Oranga Tamariki didn't look into that and they can't find evidence that that is what happened. It's pretty insane that this is happening here and now. And so the Children's Commissioner yesterday urged us all to work together. She's like, can you put politics aside and actually work together? And so it's something I really want to do. And I welcome a conversation with the Minister for Children. Let's talk about this. We've done the mahi. We're handing it to you. Let's go.
One of the things we love about the Greens, and Chloe in particular, is she's a huge data nerd. And we love it. We love it when we put out those numbers and she goes all through it. You're saying that this government has slashed and burned some of the key funders for looking after kids. Are we seeing that in the data yet? Are we seeing more negative interactions with kids falling further behind? Do we see that yet? Is it out there?
Yeah, we've seen an increase in urgent and critical reports of concern. Now, I just want to caveat here. We want people to report when they are concerned about children. So an increase isn't a bad thing. It's actually the amount of increase. And I also have to say that this is very multifaceted, and you'll see our promise too is that all children should be free from poverty. These are all connected. But we have seen, since these cuts have happened to Oranga Tamariki, there has been cuts to Oranga Tamariki. They've cut 400 staff. So you'd think that if there's an increase in reports of concern, you would be making sure that it's staffed adequately, not cutting staff, as well as cutting these care support agencies, which when Oranga Tamariki has a child come into their care or into their view, they then say, oh, look, this service is out there. Let's put them over here so that these people within the community can care for them. And what we're hearing from communities, what we're seeing is those services are no longer there. They don't have the capacity. And so these kids are left floundering with no support structures around them, or not enough support structures around them. And then what happens is when they offend, if they offend, suddenly all of these support structures are around them. So it's like, this is what we mean. That moving away from prevention into punishment is what this government has done, and our kids deserve better.
Chewie, jump in, sir.
It's funny, current government loves to talk about investment, and the one thing that they could invest money in is future generations. The one thing that they love to talk about is crime and punishment, and looking after the kids and getting them out of these cycles of poverty and violence and crime would certainly do enormous good for the crime stats. Why is it, do you think, that these guys constantly miss that message?
That is a great question. I really wish I knew the answer. But when you are so focused on punishing kids who, like these stats that have come out recently about the 48 kids being put in jail overnight to reported 4,000 over the last year, we can see that this government's focus is completely wrong. And they wrap it around in the same words as us. They say, we're keeping these children safe. They have offended. We are keeping them safe, and we're keeping the public and the victims safe. Kids are not safe incarcerated, bottom line. And if I just get so fired up because it's just not good enough. And then to move your mouth and say, we're keeping kids safe by locking them up and having someone visit them once a day. Yeah, it's frustrating, but that is why we're coming up with solutions. And these promises, like I said, have been developed with kids who've experienced the system, with the people in community who are doing the mahi. We have to listen to them. We have to uplift the voices of tamariki. This obsession with punishment and that moving on to our tamariki has to stop.
Yeah. So when the other side of Parliament, your opposition, have such an ideological bent about talking about crime and punishment and talking in the terms that they do, and you talk of, hey, look, we've got to reach across the aisle and actually come up with a workable sort of thing. Do you think they're listening? Do you think they're like, well, yeah, we're talking about these things because the problem that we're trying to solve is that we want to be the government, and talking about this to voters seems to work. But just quietly between you and me, where there's no cameras and there's no public, yeah, we need to do this better. Does that happen?
I am a natural bridge builder. That is something that I am good at. So I talk to the other members of, those government members, and we do have different views on how to get there. But when you talk about children, like, I'm a parent, my kids are like 17 and 18, and all the things that I want for my kids, all the things that those parents in Parliament, those government members want for their kids, we want for kids in care. And so that's what I'm always appealing to, is that, like, okay, this is this. And then when you've got evidence, oh gosh, and this is the world we're living in now, right? Where people can come up with their own evidence. But we're talking about officials, we're talking about academics, we're talking about the people who have actually experienced this. We're talking about that Royal Commission that they apologized for not long ago, just almost a year ago. Look, I might be, I do have a sunny disposition, and I do, like, think the best. Like, I think we can really get there together, and it's going to take really courageous and difficult conversations. But like the Minister for Children, like the Children's Commissioner was imploring with us yesterday and has been for her time, we need to work together. So I live in perpetual hope that we can really make a mark. And I am the chairperson for the cross-party working group for mental health and addiction. So we're doing it in that space. Sure, we definitely don't agree on everything, but we find the things we do agree on and we work on those. So that's a start.
I've also got a question here from someone in the chat. How much has the Dunedin study, if at all, informed your party's policy platform on this issue?
Thank you so much for bringing this up, Kiwi Bear Angie. That Dunedin study is so important. And what he's talking about is the first 2,000 days of a child's life have massive indicators for where they are going. And we know that when kids go into care, that pathway is like pathway to poverty, prison. And we have to be really careful here as well, because we're talking about littlies, we're talking about rangatahi. We want to let them imagine a world that's different. But when we look at the data, that's what it's telling us. So we need to invest in those first 2,000 days. And we've seen this government in so many ways move away from that with the changes to ECE, with the, we need to save money on kids' lunches. Our kids are worth it. And so, yes, it does inform our policies. We absolutely look at those with like that promise that every child must be free from poverty. You can look into our budget and you can see this is costed into our green budget, because it is imperative that kids have what they need. And we work closely with the Auckland City Mission, and the stats that come out of there around kids who are starving are awful. We're talking about a third of Māori tamariki do not get their nutritional needs met. And we're talking about half Pacific tamariki. So, and we're a rich country. Children shouldn't be going hungry. It's as simple as that.
I remember speaking with Julie Magenta prior to the last election, and we were talking about a policy idea around housing that you guys had, and it was a safe, warm, affordable. They were the three markers: safe, warm, affordable. And I remember saying to her, what if you can get like a safe house, but it's not warm and affordable? Or what if you can get a warm and affordable house, but it's not safe? Like, in other words, what are the Greens going to do to try and hit all three markers? Like, is it important that you get all of that? And it just makes me think about what you're trying to do, because this has got kind of 7 markers. Like, what happens if every child whānau and whakapapa must be centred, but children aren't protected? You know what I mean? Like, so how do you go in? What do you do to kind of go in and try and nail all of them? Or do you just tick off one at a time? And, you know, and in 2 or 3 or 4 years, if you've got 5 out of 7, that's a pretty good outcome. How do you approach that as an MP?
This is an awesome question, because we have to think about generations into the future. I often go into the future and look back and then think, okay, how did we get there? What were the steps that we took? Sure, these 7 steps have got like specific promises, specific ways that we're going to get there in them, but they're actually all connected. So child poverty is connected to making sure that these kids have safe, warm, dry homes. And it means that we need some really clever people. Like, we've got clever people like Julianne Genter in our caucus, people who are dedicated and want to work hard. And we can deliver on all of these 7 promises. We can do it, and you can hold a Green-led government to it. That's what we're saying.
I like that idea about looking forward. I used to say, you know, I want my foresight to be my hindsight. Like, even though I'm looking forward, as if I'm already there looking backwards, because that's the 2020. So I understand what you're saying. Chewie, you got any more questions? Okay, you got anything you want to leave us with before we wrap up?
Well, I just want to say one thing beforehand. As a kid that got, when I look back, I was a very challenging kid. I was lucky that I had a mum that really fought for me, and a couple of teachers that really fought for me. But it is frightening how close I came to entering the machinery of state care and that sort of thing. So it's really important that I see people in Parliament that hold this as like, we need to keep kids out of this. Or for the kids that go into it, we need to make sure that it doesn't fuck them up. So it's incredibly important work, and I'm glad to see it.
Thanks, Chewie, and thanks for sharing that with us, because look at you now.
Look at you.
Yeah, I've got opinions on the internet.
Look at you.
I will leave you with that. I would love to come back, because I don't know if you heard, but my members bill got pulled from the ballot today.
I did see that.
I literally put it in last week. I think there's only one other time that's ever happened, which was
everyone will be pissed with you. They've their members bill in for months and months and months, and you're like 5 days later, sweet ass.
And it's also my second one to be chosen this term. So I am tinny. That is I accept that. I should have written Kahu Carter, tinny, MP. So this is the Good Samaritan bill. It is about making sure that if someone is experiencing a bad reaction to, or an unexpected reaction to drugs, like a drug overdose, that the people around them are not afraid to call for help, so that they would not be criminally prosecuted. So I just want to leave it with that. Like, let's do this. Like, this stuff is all connected, and can't wait to talk to you about that.
We'll definitely do that. I've got two quick things before you go. The first is, you said you had 17 and an 18-year-old. I'm like, I remember what, you had kids when you were like 10 then? Does that work? 17 and 18? I mean,
nobody believes you.
What are we talking about?
That's so lovely. Well, I was a young mum. I had kids when I was 23. So, you know, not that young, but still young. That's why I've done every job under you can imagine.
And the last thing is, I'm sure you guys have at least heard about what's happened in America today. Obviously, we're going to be talking about it a bit later on. As someone sort of from in the political cycle, do you have any reaction to what happened to Charlie Kirk today?
It is, I haven't really looked into it too much, to be fair. I've had a really busy day, and it's these guys need to sort out their their drug laws, yes, but also their gun laws. They need to have a really good look at themselves and sort it out, because that's a conversation that they really need to be having.
Yeah.
With some
Sorry,
action as well.
she probably
I
shouldn't
look
have
forward to hearing about your thoughts on it.
we're gonna, we're getting to that.
There'll be
Hey, thank you
many.
so much. Thank you so much for jumping in tonight. Hopefully you're getting better. We can still hear there's a bit of a cough there.
Just a little.
Yeah, anytime. Just let us know when you come back on. Come back on. Love to have you.
Thanks so much, team. You have a great night. Ka kite.
All right. Thank you, Kahurangi Carter
Cheers.
from the Greens on the 7 Promises to Tamariki. Right, Chewie, let us have a look at some super chats, etc. Kiwi Bird wants to know how much to not talk about Charlie Kirk. Do we have a dollar figure, Chewie? What would you say? What would yours be?
Oh, how can
Mine's
we avoid it?
mine's got several zeros. Don't know.
I get the vibe. I really, really do.
Yeah.
But there is so much to look into this. I think the reaction from political figures here and abroad to this, and how they compare to other incidents that have happened, is fascinating. How the media have reported it. It's bizarre. Like everything from I woke up, opened up my phone.
Same, yeah.
And the first video I got was a full-on uncensored video of it. Just on social media.
Yeah.
Even that in itself is fascinating. I don't think we can avoid it. You can, though. If you don't want to, it's right at the end of the show. You can dip out. We won't judge you.
Yeah. And I'll talk about watching that video as well, because I also saw it, even though I was trying not to see it. That's where social media is these days. Kaimatara says, it's always marginalised people asked to be the bigger person, yet when someone is stepping on you, you cannot be the bigger without pushing them off. You cannot be bigger without pushing them off. Nigel, you've highlighted this one, went to the Waikato Union meeting today, Activation Day, September 20th, with events around the country. Find out your local location and join in, everybody. And then Tiffany says, how do we convince right block neolib capitalists that children are a good investment? I don't believe they have the humanity to grasp the concept. Yeah, it's interesting, that, isn't it? There are, I don't have them to hand, so I won't try and quote them, but there are facts and figures around about $1 put into a child like before 5 earns X amount of dollars after 20, and the reverse. So the prevention to things seems to be a better fiscal decision apart from anything else. You would hope a neolib would get that, but they don't. Maybe it's because neoliberalism they only play the neoliberal hand when it suits them. When it doesn't suit them, they then ignore it. Sorry, Joe.
And I mean, I guess that's where I was going with my question, right? Is that there's so much that is I guess, for lack of a better term, marketing. You know, it's all barracking for the next election and that sort of thing. But then when the negotiations start and there's a cross-party committee and all of that sort of stuff, do you just lean ahead and go, right, nobody's looking now. Okay, I'm not going to say anything. But you know this is fucked, right? I just want to get a baseline level about what we're doing here is fucked and we need to do something better. Are you with me or not? Because otherwise that's really weird. And I guess that's part of it. Is I'm fascinated to see where the politician's persona, the party's ideology. We've seen so much out of this government where they'll push or outright ignore expert opinions, evidence, the whole works. Is there a point where they put that aside and they go, well, actually, yeah, we know it's fucked. We need to do something. But I just can't be too public on how we do it because it's our whole election campaign. Would never get an answer to that.
Never get an answer to that one.
Never, ever.
We're going to keep moving. And I'll tell you what, I think we probably will have time to go to Discord. What maybe we'll do, Chewie, is maybe we'll aim for the show to go till sort of half 10, which is pretty much our normal sort of average length show. I'm not saying get in there now, but as a reminder, perhaps when we start doing the Charlie Kirk conversation, you can jump onto the Discord and get down there into the waiting room. And I think you can find Discord now by going to bhn.nz. So if you can't remember what the long URL is, or you don't see it in the chat, or just go to bhn.nz and click on the Discord, and I think there's a gateway there to get into it. As I said, don't necessarily need you to jump in the waiting room now, because we might not be to it for 20 minutes or so, but if people are interested in having a chat tonight, saying bon voyage to Chewie for 3 weeks, or talking about Charlie Kirk or anything else, then feel free. Let us move on to the next topic of conversation. This is interesting, actually, because it's like, how Kieran and the Bush, it's Kieran and the Bush, they do have a relationship. So sometimes that kind of elbow egging along sort of thing, even though, we all roll our eyes at the Bush and that sort of thing, but it's workable. Nicola tried to have a crack. And it didn't go well. Let's just play the first 60 seconds where she starts to kind of poke the bear. And I think it's one of these things, when someone tries to have a joke, but maybe they don't have the same relationship with you that lets them, so it just sounds like you're being pissy. That's the sense I get. Have a listen.
Kieran, we're still waiting on those Labor policies to roll out, but when they do, will there be an element of the KiwiSaver in there?
There's bound to be a policy related to KiwiSaver, as there will be the retirement age. We've been pretty firm over the last couple of elections that we want the retirement age to remain at 65. The National Party want to increase it, and that's a valid debate to have. But we can expect to be absolutely clear on every single policy, on every possible area. No one's ever accused the Labor Party of being short of policy in our manifesto. It's larger than most St James Bibles. But we're going to be releasing our policies progressively.
See, Kieran's being funny, right? When you're sitting along someone beside you that's funny, and they try and be funny and it doesn't work? Yeah, that's what we're looking at. It's real Karen vibes.
Probably very shortly, actually. We said before the end of the year, and the year is progressing on quickly.
Chris, you're being a bit unfair. They did actually announce an economic policy this week. They said that they're considering whether or not they should increase the inflation target, which would mean prices would increase faster and you'd have a higher cost of living. So that's what they are considering at the moment.
Chris Hipkins did say it was going to be before the end of the year. We sort of ran out of time with Mr Hipkins to pinpoint that date, because we are into September. What do you reckon, October or November?
Either or. Probably won't be December.
Not helpful.
So he's very good.
Oh, that's good. That's so dry.
Did you ever watch Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah, loved it.
So
Theatre kid, man, of course.
There's this moment in Whose Line Is It Anyway where Colin Mockery and Ryan Stiles, they get bored on stage and they start having a go at each other. And I just wanted to show you this clip here where they're performing in a show, like they're in the middle of a skit, and you can see Ryan goes, "You do not want to go there." And the reason I'm showing you is that's the vibe I get from Kieran, that Nicola had a go and he's like, "You do not want to go there." So this is what you're going to see.
Pull down your pants again. Although, thanks for reminding me, I need to get some chicken. All right.
Colin Mockery.
So that was, if you didn't quite hear it, because Chewie was talking over it. He said, "You started it. Here we go." So that's what Ryan Stiles says to Colin Mockery. And now we're going to watch the second part of this conversation. And it really does feel to me like Kieran has taken the mental attitude of, "You started it," with that comment about inflation. "You started it. Here we go."
This week on Breakfast, we've had the leaders of both your parties on having a go at each other. Mr Luxon said Mr Hipkins wouldn't be able to control 5 leaders and co-leaders if the opposition was in power. Mr Hipkins then said the coalition partners are running rings around Mr Luxon. Nicola Willis, who would want to be a leader?
Well, look, it's a tough job being Prime Minister, and I think under MMP, this is one of the things that's going to be a reality into the future, is you need a leader who can't just present the positions of their party, but needs to manage across multiple parties. And as much as every now and then ACT and New Zealand First present their challenges to National, they are way easier to deal with than to Party Māori and the Greens would be. I mean, what a shocker of a week Party Māori has had racist statements from their MPs. The Greens seem to be losing MPs. They're going to be very difficult for any Labour leader to juggle.
Kieran, Labour's pointing to migration numbers.
You started it. Here we go.
There's a no confidence vote in the PM's leadership. Do you think someone else has got better leadership?
Oh, I think Nicola probably thinks that. There's plenty of people that think that the Prime Minister's an absolute dud. He walked around at the election campaign like a massive blowhard talking about how good of a negotiator he is, and then just gave Winston and Seymour everything they wanted. And now he has the cheek to turn around and say, oh, no, Chris Hipkins can't manage a coalition. Well, look in the mirror, mate. Goodness me. There's a record number of people leaving the country. This is bad news, and it is a vote of no confidence in this government. If things were better here, if they believed that there was going to be a chance of getting a decent job with decent wages, then they'd stay, but they don't. There were 10,000 jobs gone in the last 3 months. And when they look to the government for solutions, all they get is blame, trying to blame us, or trying to find the best distraction they can.
Stop it!
A few things to unpack in
She's
there, but I think
already
one of them
dead.
was, it sounded like a semi-endorsement of you, Minister, from Kieran there. What did you make of that?
Yeah, well, that's just silly. Well, look, Chris Luxon is doing a great job. He's leading a stable government that everyone thought was going to be very difficult to do, that's pushing forward a big agenda. You know, things like that fast-track law, which is going to make sure that big projects that hire hundreds of workers can get started faster in this country. Labour oppose that. And so we're on the side of job creation. We're on the side of lifting people's incomes. And Chris Luxon's leading a government that's getting on with the business.
It wasn't an endorsement, but it is a fact that not many people could do worse.
Well, there you go. Well, you don't really give that many nice things to Chris Bishop, so you're doing well.
Would definitely be a problem for Hipkins.
Yeah, that was a good comeback, Nicola. Good comeback. Well done, mate.
Good
well done,
one.
Mate. And just because he mentioned the dud thing again, just one more time, we have to go to one of our new favourite videos.
Okay, Bart, your turn. You got the dud! Okay, Bart.
There you go. So, yeah, I mean, like, having a bit of fun. It's a Thursday night, you know. Yeah.
Jesus, Nicola just turned out to a battle of wits completely unarmed.
Yeah, 100%.
I've never seen someone like while Nicola was talking at the start of that video, I have never seen Kieran's eyes sparkle so much just waiting for his turn to destroy her. And then when he was talking, I've never seen a single person look like they're concentrating on blinking more than Willis was just there. Like, just really hard, like, remember to do a blink.
Blinking makes me look human. So the more I blink, the more human I look.
She looked like she was incubating a lemon. Like, just, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I almost feel sorry for her.
We've all had people like that in our lives, you know, who think they're funnier than they are, who think they have a position in your life where they can say or do something. You know, your best mate, you can say the most reprehensible, offensive things to him and it's laugh off duck's back. But if a person who doesn't have that relationship says it to them, it's like, no, this is the problem. And it's like, almost like she thought, oh, this is how we do this thing in the morning. We played this game and we're grumpy with each other. And yeah, like you're saying, that sparkling of his eyes of you started it, here it comes sort of thing is it was a delight to see. A delight.
A joyful tangent before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned knowing someone that thinks they're funnier than they are. Yeah. And I think back many years ago. I had this group of friends here in Dunedin. We'd quite often meet up for drinks and that sort of thing. And it's a pretty funny group. We'd always be quoting Monty Python and all sorts of Simpsons quotes, the whole works. But there was always one guy that just didn't have that sort of natural sense of humour. But he was
5% off on the beat. 5% off.
He would try. But I remember we were walking from one bar to the other, and I think we were just goofing around, and he thought it'd be really funny to kind of try a jokey pickup line on these girls walking the other way.
Yeah.
And try and get us involved with it. And it was like a setup that nobody knew was happening. But he tried to tell a joke in front of these girls. And one of the girls turned around and goes, yeah, well, when World of Warcraft learns to procreate, then you'll know what's up. And he was just destroyed. And we were just like a bunch of howler monkeys going, ha, 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 you got owned. It was like that. That's what that felt like.
Well, very good. All right. Now it's we got heaps of time, guys. We're going to go into this conversation next about Charlie Kirk. So we will open up Discord. Now, first of all, we haven't done this for several weeks. So we always got to make sure it's working. It could be broken, but you can see it lights up when I talk. You talk as well?
Hello.
So it lights up when you talk. So it looks like it's working. We'll do the news first, and then we'll come. If you want to be involved, get into Discord and come and drop yourself, just like Aiden has, into the waiting room. Aiden hasn't actually. Aiden's in the live stream chat. But when you drop into the waiting room, we can come and have a chat with you after we're done with this story. And if we get several people in, I mean, we'll go till about 10:30 or earlier, should there not be many more calls to go. Maybe Chewie will get your itinerary as to why you're going to Europe and that kind of stuff as well. Now, one thing about this story, what I've decided to do is actually use the TV3 story from it. Because obviously here in New Zealand, we kind of amalgamate a lot of things for one news item. For a singular news item, not like one news. But I've got a bunch of other things I want to play and things I want to show you off Twitter and that kind of stuff. I found out about this Chewie, much like yourself, when I woke up and I opened my phone and there was a Hassan Piker video. And it was an hour of his stream. And in that hour, he didn't find out that Charlie Kirk had passed. In that hour, they were still talking about the shooting and off to hospital, and he's at hospital and this sort of thing. But the thing that Hassan Piker said, he saw because there's several out there, but there's a couple of most viewed videos of the shooting. One is from quite a long way away on the side, and one is from not right in front like the third row, but from 30 or 40 meters back and very clear straight in front. And Hassan said quite early on he had been sent the footage for the up close one, and he said, do not go looking for it. Hassan Piker, who was a young, he's probably millennial, and he is American, so gun culture, he knows about it, said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen. And so these sorts of things go around, and I've seen lots of stuff that most people haven't. You kind of, when you're in the news world, they pop up, but I made a decision then that I wasn't going to go looking for it. I wasn't going to see it. Through the day of scrolling, sorry, Joe, you go.
I was just going to say, just that term of like, I think this is the worst thing I've ever seen. That yardstick has moved so much for me over the last 3 or 4 years.
It's true. It's true.
With the footage that's come out of Ukraine, and especially the footage that's come out of Gaza, I think one guy getting a shot in the neck is not even going to move the needle.
Yeah, and I mean, you say that like that, it's fine. But he said it was pretty graphic. It was pretty awful. And then again, Hassan Piker was supposed to be debating Charlie Kirk in 3 weeks, so maybe it hit him. He was supposed to be on stage with him, debating him in 3 weeks. So maybe it hit him more personally, as you would expect. He's debated him in the past, so I'm not suggesting they're bosom buds or anything, but they know each other, and so he was watching someone he knew get hit. So maybe it was a heavier weight for him. But anyway, through the day, I saw the one coming that was quite a long way away on the side, and it was pretty graphic, but it was distance you couldn't see. And I was just scrolling through Twitter today, looking at news and getting resources, and I saw a headline, and I was reading and as I was reading the headline, there was a video underneath it that I didn't realize, and I saw the straight on in front one. So even, this is what I was saying earlier, even trying not to see it, Chewie, I mean, I could have stayed off Twitter. Then I probably wouldn't have seen it. But Charlie Kirk was trending, and I was looking for things for the story. So I saw it. And I tell you what, it is pretty graphic. It's not graphic like a head coming off graphic, but it's graphic like the instant, I want to say the instantaneity. It's not a word. The instantness of the damage that was very obvious. So yeah, it was pretty graphic. Shall I fire this off? Would you want to say anything before we do, Chewie?
Yeah. Press play.
Oh, I know what you're about to say. Struth.
That
Okay,
was-
let's go. That
that
was
was,
close.
unintentional.
I know. I said to someone today, what did I say? Because I've been doing this communication with China about the stuff. What did I can't remember what I was going to say. It was like, can you sharpen your price, or can you? I used a phrase and I deleted it because it just felt wrong. It wasn't that one. It was something else. A phrase that you'd normally use, which kind of sounds like you're doing. Oh, I know what it was. I was going to say, oh, if you can do me this price, then I'll pull the trigger. Meaning, I will do it. I will pay the price. And I didn't. I was like, no, I'm not going to write that because it doesn't feel right today. Anyway, 3 news tonight.
Donald Trump has described his close ally, Charlie Kirk, as a martyr and blamed the radical left for his murder. Kirk, a prominent youth leader in the MAGA movement, was shot dead at an event at a Utah university as he answered a question about gun deaths. Police are still searching for the shooter.
Yeah, that was one of the ironies. Man asked him about trans math shooters and then about mass shooters, and then literally within a few seconds, he got shot.
Dan Rivers.
And just so you know, in case anyone hasn't seen any footage, there is no footage of him falling down. There's no blurriness. Nothing. They do cut the image and there is the sound of a gunshot. So just letting you know what you're about to see. There's no blood, there's no guts, there's no imagery of it, there's no slow motion, there's no blurry anything. It goes to black screen, but you do hear a gunshot. So depending on how sensitive you are, now you know what will come in the story.
From ITV reports.
Charlie Kirk, a young right-wing activist, was answering a question about gun violence when a shot rang out.
Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
Okay. It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm going to give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been?
It was 5, by the way, to answer that question. Mass shooters that are transgender, 5. And then the next question is going to be, do you know how many there are in total? And I don't think he gets a chance to answer.
In America over the last 10 years.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Panic ensued as students fled the college campus in Provo, near Salt Lake City.
I heard a loud bang, which I figured a shot would be a little bit louder, but I just saw it hit him in the chest, and then all of a sudden just tons of blood gushing right out where his heart.
It's funny how they always say eyewitness accounts are not reliable, eh? Like this lady is, if she was asked in a court of law what she saw, it was that someone got hit in the chest, and clearly he did not. So it's interesting about the eyewitness side of it.
Is, and then he like fell over and slumped down, and everybody got down and was screaming, and then we all ran.
I don't even have my shoes on. I left my keys, and everyone's just like scared.
As soon as he was hit, he fell back.
Can I also just observe something, Chewie? Tell me if I'm wrong. These people seem, even though she said it was scary, these people all seem quite chill about this. Like, if you've seen the footage, they're describing what you saw on the footage, which is pretty graphic. And they're like, well, you know, I left my shoes behind and my keys. Maybe there's an element of shock. Maybe I'm being unkind, but they don't, they sound like, because it kind of is, this is an everyday occurrence in America somewhere. They don't, like if this was in a non-gun laden country, I wouldn't expect the eyewitnesses to be so kind of, you know what I mean?
I think there's an element of that, and the fact that this was a targeted sort of thing. It was clearly aimed at one dude. It wasn't someone walking into a mall or a school and just open firing randomly and they just got away. Once it happened, I think you go, cool, well, that's the target. It's not me. But yeah, I think it is a desensitization. It's what I was mentioning. We see so much in our screens, up close, high definition. Like, I mean, while we were talking about it, I've found, I think, 3 different angles, unedited, unblurred on that. And yeah, compared to what I've seen over the last couple of years, I'm so desensitized. I'm kind of rocked by how desensitized I am by it.
Yeah, it's interesting you would say that, because when you said that at the start about, you know, like some of the stuff you've seen coming out of Gaza, I agree. That's far more graphic. So listening to Hassan Piker saying it's, I might be using the wrong word, but he was saying it's one of the worst things or something. It must have to be because of that personal connection.
Look, I'm not saying it's wrong. That's his particular view. It's just something that jumped out at me and sort of went, really? That's the worst thing you've seen? Yeah.
All right, we'll keep going on this.
Words went to the side. The audience went to their knees. I stayed up a little bit because I wanted to see if anyone saw the shooting, if they would jump all over the guy. I saw nothing like that.
Oh my God. Go, run, run. Oh.
Once again, America is contending with the spectre of appalling political violence. The president confirmed his death on social media to a shocked nation.
It's devastating. Our prayers go out to obviously his wife, Erica, his children, his family, and I mean, everybody who he touched.
Tonight, the leader of the House of Representatives spoke for many who are reeling at yet another political assassination.
This is detestable, what's happened. Political violence has become all too common in American society, and this is not who we are.
All right, I'm going to pause it there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's exactly the point, Chewie. I'm going to come back to this and finish it. He says this is not who we are. Today, Ro Connor said, the shooting of Charlie Kirk at the university is chilling and horrific. Political violence has no place in America. We must all reflect on how we can tone down the anger and hate that has poisoned our politics and be better citizens in a divided... Yeah. So my thing that I wanted to say is this is who you are, America, and violence does have a place in politics. If this is not who you are, why does it happen so often? If this has no place, why does it happen so often? I'm sorry, you don't get to play kind of niceties on a day where a particularly high profile story comes out and go, who could have seen this coming? This is not who we are. This is who you are every single day of the year. This was the 46th school shooting, education facility shooting in America this year.
There was a school shooting today as well.
And within 2 hours was the 47th. So this is who you are. Maybe what you need to do is actually start from a foundation of honesty and go, because this is who we are and it's ugly and it's horrific, where do we go from here? Because this is America. Childish Gambino, you know, this is America. One of the worst radio songs ever written, one of the best messages of political commentary you will ever see.
It violates the core principles of our country.
He's quick to call me a racist with no evidence, no data.
Charlie Kirk was a firebrand of the MAGA movement, opinionated and never shy to push his views during a tour of the country.
They're welcome to come to the microphone and say whatever they want to me, but they're intellectual cowards and they won't.
For his organization, Turning Point USA.
We will get closer to a civil war if we act like that. We just yell at people we don't like.
This shooting will only deepen the profound political chasm which cuts across America in an ever more toxic atmosphere of hatred and violence.
Now, I have a bunch of things I want to show, a bunch of things from X or Twitter and stuff as well. Actually, I've got a bunch. I've got like 4. Do you want to speak to this yet, or would you like me just to keep going with pre-prepared things I've got?
You go, because I have a lot.
So obviously what's happening at the moment is that straight away the blame game has started. This is Nancy Mace blaming the Democrats for Charlie Kirk's assassination. And when a reporter asks her...
He does an amazing job, by the way.
Who asks her... Basically, he goes, okay, so if this is the fault of the Democrats, does that mean that the Republicans own the political shooting a couple of months ago that was done by a registered Republican? Right, so that's the question that gets asked, and this is the response to it.
I'm going to say this. Democrats own what happened today.
Remember, we still have no idea who's done the shooting.
I am devastated. My kids have called panicking. All the kids of every conservative in the country called panicking. Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot.
Then, by that logic, do Republicans own the shooting of the 2 Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota? Isn't this on both sides?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm asking.
We don't know what condition
No, he's not.
Charlie Kirk is in right now. Some raging leftist lunatic put a bullet through his neck, and you want to talk about Republicans right now? No.
No, I'm asking
not
you.
at all.
You said the Democrats
no,
have
this
to own
is
it too.
on.
But
The Democrats own this.
But isn't there a problem with
this.
political violence across the spectrum?
Yeah, we're talking about Charlie Kirk right now. That's the subject of this that we're talking about right now. Democrats own this 100%.
We're talking about Charlie Kirk right now because that suits my narrative as we're speaking. And I again, watching Hassan Piker today and some others, apparently Charlie Kirk had quite a big beef with a whole lot of Nazis, with Nick Fuentes. And I'll have to tell you this. If you lined up 100 Americans in a room who were skilled enough to hit someone in the neck from whatever it was, 200 yards with one shot and kill them, right? 95% of those people are going to be Republicans. Just because that's where the people who love the guns are. I'm not saying it definitely won't be a leftist or it definitely won't be a Democrat, but statistically speaking, someone who pulls off a shot like that from such distance with such accuracy is going to be someone heavily involved in gun use. That if you were like a CSI, what do they call in the FBI when they bring up a profiler, it's more likely going to be someone who's got the experience with guns, who is more likely going to be someone who sits on the conservative side of politics or has in the past. Now, I'm not suggesting that's the case. I have no idea, but the point is I have no idea, and neither do these people. But before we know anything, these started coming out. Elon Musk. The left is the party of murder.
World's smartest man.
Ted Cruz. Oh, come on, Teddy. Now, he didn't say it, but he tweeted out, a Democrat has just shot Charlie Kirk in the neck at Utah. Now, again, they might be right, but they have absolutely no more knowledge of whether they're right or wrong than we do right now. Remember, the guy that shot Trump in the ear voted for Trump. He was a Republican. So we shall have to wait and see what we see. And I know many of you may have seen this before, but this is obviously one of those points of, what's the word, Chewie? Hoisted by one's own petard. This is Charlie Kirk in 2023, I think, talking about how some people may have to die from gun violence to protect our Second Amendment rights and to protect us. He probably never said that knowing he would be one of them.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, by having more armed guards in front of schools.
Notice he doesn't say by having fewer guns. He says you can reduce it by having fathers in the homes and more guns at schools. He never says, though, we could stop it by having fewer guns. Doesn't say that.
The home, by having more armed guards in front of schools. We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. Wow. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year.
Charlie Kirk is saying it's worth it having some people die from guns. It's worth it for me to die today. It's worth it so others can have their Second Amendment guns to protect their TVs and stuffs in their house. He's basically saying people are going to be martyrs to the cause. I suggest he never knew he would be one of them. And it would be fascinating to ask him or any one of the other people who adhere to this kind of Second Amendment ideology, if it was you who were one of the ones that had to die so everyone else could have their guns, is that okay? What do your kids think about you being one of the ones that has to get killed and give up their life so everyone else can have their guns? This is an incredibly telling moment for America in some ways, because he is actively out there, has been actively out there saying some of us will die, but that's okay. Did he really believe it? Was it a good narrative? Did it get him a paycheck?
When it was kids, man.
When it was kids, when it was people in the inner cities, when it was that, but it's him.
A cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe. So we need to be very clear.
Nobody talks like this, that some of you may have to die so I can own my guns. What about some of you may have to die? Now, please, don't get me wrong. I think this is horrific. I think it's horrific for his family. He's got 2 young kids, I think 2 and 1. They deserve to have a dad coming home tonight, even if politically he is a horrific piece of shit and his opinions we can't stand anywhere near. But the ironies around this, of someone standing up for gun rights, for someone saying, there's tweets out there, I didn't show it tonight, but there's a tweet going around about that Charlie Kirk put out there that says guns keep people safer. Guns save lives. These are the things that he has been tweeting out in the past. The irony is more than palpable, Chewie, and that's my presentation of the information coming out today.
Charlie Kirk was a horrible piece of shit. Just one of the most reprehensible people that has actively poured sewage into the political discussion sphere in America and has contributed to the bleed over into the rest of the world with everything that he's done. Mm-hmm. I've got a short list of some of the things that he's on record as saying. Gay people should be stoned to death. Most people are scared when they see a black pilot flying a plane. Taylor Swift should reject feminism and submit to her husband. No one should be allowed to retire. Leftists should not be allowed to move to red states. British colonialism was what made the world decent. The guy who assaulted the Pelosi's should be bailed out. Religious freedom should be terminated. Multiple black politicians stole white people's spots. MLK Jr. was an awful person. The Great Replacement Theory is a reality. Hydroxychloroquine cures COVID. Vaccine requirements are medical apartheid. Gun deaths are acceptable in order to have a Second Amendment. A woman's natural place is under her husband's control. Parents should prevent their daughters from taking birth control. George Floyd had it coming. The January 6 protesters didn't. The 1964 Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. Encouraged parents to protest mask mandates. Mamdani winning in New York is a travesty because Muslims did 9/11. Muslims only come to America to destabilize Western civilization. Palestine doesn't exist, and those who support it are like the KKK. You say we should feel sorry for his wife and kids. I can't even muster up that sympathy. This is a man who encouraged people to laugh at tragedies. The gunning down of gay people, the persecution of gay people, when trans people committed suicide, he tried to point gun violence at the trans community. He is an awful, awful, dreadful man who, if there is an afterlife, is probably working out that it's pretty fucking hot at the moment, and that's a bit weird. What we see now is just an insane amount of spin. We've seen Republicans and those on the right outside of America holding this guy up as a paragon of free speech. This man has never had his speech impinged at any point. He's been able to create an organization. He's been able to go and set up stalls at every higher education location in America purely to rage bait people. He's constantly been punching down, again, against the LGBTQ community, against other races, against other religions. He's a white supremacist. So when people go, oh, you can't celebrate someone's death, I'm not going to celebrate it. But I'm also not going to mourn for this guy. I'm going to sit here and be baffled when someone gets up and says, hey, this is not America. There's been political violence. You need to go back, less than 2 months. Republican ex-candidate sentenced to 80 years for a shooting plot against Democrat lawmakers in New Mexico. You go back a couple more months than that, a lawmaker in Wisconsin, her husband and her golden retriever were assassinated by a registered Republican, a Trump supporter.
Sounds like a
That
John Wick film.
disappeared out.
And her golden retriever. Look out for
The
John Wick.
friendliest dog in the world. They killed like that. I remember seeing the live stream of that funeral, the 2 caskets and the urn for the golden retriever.
Oh.
Okay, but that disappeared out of the American news cycle the next week.
Yeah.
And we didn't see Mike Smith get up and decry this political violence. We didn't see the White House put their flag at half-mast. You didn't see that. Boris Johnson didn't get up and do a great big fucking long post about it. Winston Peters and David Seymour didn't say anything about it either, but they're real keen to talk about Charlie Kirk today. Why are our political right and statesman level politicians around the world holding this glorified podcaster up on a pedestal that he did not earn? This is just where America is at.
I think
he helped build it.
Yeah, I think when you say he didn't earn, like I agree with you from looking on the outside in. From the inside out, though, they think he earned it because he got millions of votes for Trump. He was responsible in some part of it. So they think
for himself.
No, but they think he built a platform to put him on. But I'm looking at the 2025 shootings of those Minnesota legislators now. Democrats shot, killed by someone on the right. And I did think this today, as you're saying, this person is politically adjacent, and basically the political world has gone into mourning. When people from the political world get assassinated, nothing like this. There is something very wrong with that equation. And can I say one thing? I don't disagree with any of your sentiment, but I will still say, and I didn't say that we should feel sorry for him. I said I feel sorry for his kids. His kids don't know anything about this. I think that, oh shit, what I was going to say just jumped out of my head. Give me a sec. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. It's going to go back. I can't. Nope. It's gone.
Like, it's like, I mean, again, yeah, maybe his kids are pure as the driven snow, but there was none of that consideration from him or his supporters for those in a similar situation to Kirk's family now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I remember what I was going to say. Because what I was going to say was whether you think that there should be some kind of empathy put towards Charlie Kirk and his family or not, the Democrats in America showing empathy to his family is still the right thing to do. Because if the Democrats in America took the line that, you know, oh, he's a terrible person, got what's coming, that would be worse, even if it's fake, their empathy. Because what happens when a Democrat gets done in is the right don't do it. And I know what we're going to say. Why should we burn the place down? Yada, yada, yada. But I think from the Democrats, it's the correct response. Empathy from them to the family is the correct response. I don't think that citizens, individuals have to be held to the same standard. But the other thing is, what does this mean about the political system over there as well? What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen to the, like again, just jumping back to Hassan Piker, he was like, I don't know whether I should ever speak in public again. There was people in Hassan Piker's chat going, oh, get security and get and wear a bulletproof vest. And he went, they shot him from 200 yards away in the neck. Neither security nor a bulletproof vest would have done anything for this. Yeah. So this is, and one of the reasons I guess I followed it all day is I know people in that circle. You know, I know people in the political YouTube sphere in America. So I kind of feel probably two steps removed from it, but it's a strange old thing.
I mean, one of the things that I found really baffling is why has our foreign minister got involved in this?
Yeah. Oh, well, David Seymour was asked about it today on a program. That's kind of why I asked.
The deputy prime minister is commenting on the assassination of a glorified podcaster. in a
Are you
different
talking about
country.
Peters? Peters is the
Seymour
longer-
did it as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, Seymour did it on Chris Lynch's show. Chris Lynch asked him, but I mean, I just asked Kahu, so
Yeah, I mean, our foreign minister. It is tragic that we now live in a world where differences of opinion are met with a gun.
hang on.
This is
But
never,
we don't. This is not a new thing. We haven't just moved into this world that we now live
this
in a
isn't
world.
the first time it happens. This isn't the first time it's happened. This isn't even the first time it's happened this year. It isn't even the first time it's happened in the last 6 months. He's foreign minister. He fucking knows this. The death of Charlie Kirk is not political violence, it's assassination. Those two things are the same thing. The utter tragedy is that Kirk travelled extensively around university campuses to give open mic and debate everyone, and all were welcome. Welcome's doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
And he's obviously misrepresenting it. Having a 32-year-old, 31-year-old, fully formed man who's been debating these topics for 14 years against a 17-year-old first out of school, it's not a debate. So sorry, it's not. I'm not going to accept you selling it like that, Mr. Peters. That it's like this. It's just a marketplace of ideas, and everybody's equal. No, it's not.
He stood for a freedom of speech and especially fought for the rights for others to express theirs, even if he disagreed. Well, you saw what I read out about his positions. I think the natural progression of those positions that he's taken is no, not everyone is welcome, and no, not everyone gets to have free speech. The essence of democracy is under threat around the world, and we must do everything we can do to protect it. Why is it that Winston Peters right now is taking a stronger stand in a stronger position about an incredibly divisive, hateful white supremacist from another country who was never elected than he is about Gaza? Something that I would expect the foreign minister to have a stronger position on. This shit offends me. We should be talking about something else. But this is, there are groups, every group out there has political hay to make. They might be going, oh, this is a tragedy, but they're going, this is a fucking jackpot. I can point this at all of my enemies. One of the biggest pro-Zionist Twitter accounts that has already said not only that it's a leftist, but this is definitely being done by a Free Palestine person because they invented terrorism. Everyone's going to point this at their favorite boogeyman.
They were invented terrorism. So there was no terrorism before 1948 or whatever it was. That was when it started.
Correct.
And it was started by university students in America. That's where it came from.
The Trump administration is going to be stoked because this is going to eat up the news cycle now. We're not talking about the Epstein files.
That was suggested as well.
We're not talking about what Russia's up to.
The conspiracies are going all over the place. There was someone who mentioned Mossad today. There was someone who mentioned all sorts of things. We won't know. The thing that's interesting though is the more credible sort of a conspiracy is the professional nature of the quote unquote hit. 200 yards, high powered rifle, hit to the neck, disappeared into the crowd. You know, it doesn't sound like your sort of yokel local who hunts possums in the weekend. You know what I mean? So
it showed. There were a lot of people that showed their whole ass over this today as well. I mentioned my my Tim Pool costume, and I realized that I've just closed down all of my windows that I had. So you're just going to have to take me on faith. But one of my favorite things was Tim Pool going, "Oh my God, I've just heard that Charlie Kirk has been shot. I pray to God he'll be okay." Then another tweet going, "Guys, a source has told me that he is stable. He's going to pull through." And that was literally 15 minutes before he was pronounced dead. So there's that. But yeah, like we were mentioning earlier, there are a lot of people out there that are quite happy to go on absolutely no evidence. People were saying that they arrested the shooter. They put up the video of the person being arrested, an older white man.
Yep.
He was just someone that was in the crowd that had a gun. But he's had his image put out all over the internet that he's the fucking shooter. And we know what the internet does. It doesn't forget. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Chewie, you're off on a 3-week holiday. Maybe it's a good time. Should we do some of these super chats and then
let's talk about my holiday. This is a good place to.
Let's do super chats. There's no one in the waiting room, so we're not going to do Discord because no one jumped in there, so that's fine. It's empty at the moment, so we'll leave it. So let's just do super chats and then let's wrap up with Chewie. Beer Tato time. Just need to express my absolute disgust at Willis for using Benjamin Doyle's Leaving as an example of the Green Party in shambles, horrid stuff. Are you going to show us this thing with Trump? Maybe you had that video of Trump. Do you want to find it again and show us?
Yeah, that's definitely what I want to show.
Okay, you do that and I'll do these. Bazooka Joe. Was that a chewing gum? Yeah, there's chewing gum there. Had to laugh at far-right NZ Twitter piling on Hosking, calling him a liberal shill after he was mildly critical of Kirk's anti-COVID rhetoric. This is already being used as a cudgel against the left, and I am even more concerned about authoritarianism being entrenched in the US. That's from Peter Syme. Now, yeah, that's something else that happened today because, you know, Big Balls, who was working for Doge, he got beaten up in Washington, and that was the catalyst for Trump to bring the soldiers into DC. So what's Trump going to use this for? Now, some people on a presenter on MSNBC said that today, and they want her head. But I think it's a valid question. What is Trump going to do with this? How is he going to use it? I think he definitely will. Tiffany says his whole argument relies on American exceptionalism. As soon as you realise that it's comedy, fuck him. And honestly, they killed 11 civs in a boat today. Civilians in a boat today. 8 Vista says, take note, gun lobbyists in New Zealand. No thanks to more guns. The poem says, history tells us a civil and free society only happens by violent actions. Many people have died fighting for our freedoms. Wooming says political conservatives, including some New Zealand Christians, have shown today that one Charlie Kirk is worth more than 1,000 or thousands of innocent children. Tiffany says one upper class white dude gets got. The world weeps. Thousands die in Gaza. No government bats a fucking eye. That's what's worth mourning. Hypocrites. Agreed. Wally Ruru says, Winston Peters says the essence of democracy is under threat. Weeks after sicking his horrendous psychopaths on Benjamin Doyle, pure absurdity. Absurdity? It's absurdity. Absurdity. Yeah, absurdity. We'll go with. There you go. Thanks, Ruru. You want to take? I'll get my screen off if you want to take over, and I'll get rid of these chats.
So the White House put out a statement, a video statement about this. Again, that's laughable. But let's watch a little bit of the video and see if anything jumps out at you as being, I don't know, just a little bit off.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror.
Any thoughts on that, Pat?
It just looks very saturated. Like it looks like it's, I don't know, sort of filters, or it looks, the colors look different than you'd get with a normal camera.
Would you say that this is AI?
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. So could it be AI? Yes. My question would be why? Why would it be AI? I mean, he still sounds like a fucking moron. Why would they AI him to sound like a fucking moron?
AIs of Trump have gotten really good because you've got lots of video of him and you've got lots of voice samples of him. Very, very easy to do. One of the more convincing AIs out there because of this. A couple of things that sort of tweaked me to this, that color saturation that you see in AI videos. The fact that the reflections of the flags don't quite match up. If you look at the windows behind him, there's not consistent movement around that. And as he moves his head, the rest of his body doesn't move.
Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate
Frame rate seems
and the
kind of
country
off.
that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth.
So yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know either.
It looks very AI to me, and there's certainly a lot of people commenting on it. If we're at that point where a world leader doesn't even need to fucking roll out of bed to put out a statement, that they just AI it, then you can get a world leader to say whatever you want.
It's true. Hey, dude, we've actually had 3 people roll up into the waiting room. Should we just have a chat for 5-10 minutes and then sign
go
off?
for it.
You okay with that? Now, we don't know if this is going to work, Whānau, because we haven't tested it yet. So we'll just go in. We'll say g'day to a few people. If it works, we'll have a quick chat and then we'll move on. So Jeremy's going to be first. Jeremy, if you want to get near your mic, remember, don't listen to the YouTube feed if you're going to get in Discord. Listen to it through Discord, or else you hear us 15 seconds later and we are then sitting here going, hello, can you hear us? So don't listen to it through YouTube if you are, for want of a better word, on hold. So I drag Jeremy across like that and I see if it's working. Jeremy, you there?
Yes, kia ora, Pat.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, kia ora, we can hear you. Chewie, can you hear Jeremy?
Kia ora. Yep. I got him.
Cool. Okay, so we're working. What's up?
Yes. Good, thank you.
Yep. So what's up, Jeremy?
It's, well, sorry, I'm hearing you twice. Weird, I've, yep, all good. Good to see you finally put us on you just Discord again. And got us on live now.
What we might have to do is check to see with another person, Jeremy. If you want to stay there, just stay there and we'll check to see with another person who is waiting in the wings. And if they can hear us just fine, that means it's probably on your end. And if they can't hear us just fine, that means it's probably on our end and we won't be able to do it. So stick around for a sec and we'll go to Big Olby and see if Big Olby can hear us. Big Olby, are you there? Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Sounds like you're listening to us on you're listening to us on YouTube. We can hear it in the background.
I'm good. I've just had to put the volume up on my TV. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, just fine.
Yep.
You're listening to us on YouTube.
Oh, that's gonna
yeah,
repeat.
no, sorry, dude, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Is what you're saying you can't hear us. We're going to try one more with auto trot. This is a good way to send you off, Joey, with a bunch of stuff that's not working. We'll see if we're working with auto trot. Hello, auto trot, you there?
Can you hear me?
Not really. We can hear you in the distance, like you're not speaking into the microphone, but we can hear you.
Sorry, I think I'm remarkably far
go.
behind.
No,
you guys are.
We can hear you now. Can you hear us?
No, I can't hear goddamn thing. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, it must be something on our end if they can't
Probably
hear us.
drop it.
You can't hear us, auto trot?
Appreciate the appreciate the effort.
Yeah, no, it's not going to work. Sorry, guys. That's what happens sometimes when you try and use technology you haven't tested. Doesn't work. I apologize. We're going to not do that tonight. So, Chewie, tell us about your trip, man.
So I've mentioned on the stream a couple of times. I love a band called Murder by Death. It's a band that I've followed for almost 20 years. Went to Colorado to see them a couple of years ago. They announced their retirement, maybe a hiatus, earlier this year, and announced a farewell tour. And I was hoping to see them in Colorado next year. But obviously with Trump, I was like, oh, I'll just put it off until Trump's gone. Then they announced that they were doing a farewell tour and they are doing one show outside of North America. So I'm flying to London to see a band that I really, really like.
How much did you think about trying the American route? Like, did you think about it at all? Did you weigh it up, or did you just go, nah, not going to even try?
They do a couple of special shows. So I went to one of them in Colorado, which is in the hotel that inspired Stephen King to write The Shining.
Yep.
They do another special concert in a cave in Tennessee, about 200 feet under the ground. It's phenomenal. And I really, really wanted to go to see it. But then when this big ICE immigration Trump crackdown happened and they started bouncing people from the border for social media, I knew that it was done. I was uncomfortable with the idea to going to America in its current state, but that whole thing of like, show us your phone or we've checked out your social media before you've come, I just wasn't comfortable enough to say that I wasn't going to end up in some sort of detention camp or just bounce back to New Zealand. So I was just like, cool. I at least I saw them in Colorado. Then a bunch of the people that I met in Colorado said, Chewie, are you going to London? Because we are. And when I'd looked at the farewell poster and I'd seen London, I assumed it was in Canada, like London, right. Ontario.
Ontario, yeah.
I literally did not notice that it was London in the UK. So because of that, I didn't have a lot of time. And I was like, oh, it'd be lovely for me and my partner to go. She's obviously from London. But the flights were so expensive. My lovely partner said, Chewie, just go. They are your favorite band. You cannot miss this opportunity. So I'm flying solo to the UK. I'm going to catch up with a bunch of friends that I made last time I saw Murder by Death. I'm going to catch up with a bunch of friends of mine from the UK that live in London that I haven't seen for quite a few years. Yeah.
I recognise that one.
There's my one. And yeah, I'm just going to have an amazing time. Every time I travel, I tend to overload myself with stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
So this time I am just going to stay in the London area and I'm just going to catch up with friends and I'm just going to have a nice chill time. But yeah, that's my crazy trip, to see a band that I really like.
Well, we're very excited for you. Equal parts excited and like, oh, you're leaving us, Chewie. But for people to know around here, I've been talking to numerous content creators or friends of the show. Paul Barlow, who's confirmed, people who have confirmed, Jared Otto, more people, Clint Smith, and some newbies as well that we haven't had on before, that might come and join us as we're going through. And so we'll have a bit of fun with some newbies and get them to tell us lots about their world. And that'll be us for, you're back in 2 and a bit weeks, but probably we're thinking 3 weeks, aren't we? Because you're going to need your beauty sleep when you get back.
Yeah, I think by the time I get over the jet lag, it probably will be about 3 weeks. Yeah. People asked if I'm doing any podcasts over there. I am doing a podcast with a friend of mine. It's not about politics. It'll probably end up being a little bit about politics with me, but my mate Jez Brown has a podcast called Interconnector, where he interviews his friends about 6 songs that fit together somehow. So we can't waste this opportunity to have Chewie on.
There's that Desert Island Discs. It's like a version of Desert Island Discs.
Yeah. Similar idea. Yeah, that's the one there. So yeah, I haven't thought about what 6 songs. I guess that is something that I will do on my 27 hours on an airplane. Work out what 6 songs I'm going to do.
All right, team. And that's it for us. And just so you know, over the space of the show or some videos and stuff we're playing, I paid for our mugs. So 1, Chewie Fufu, the 4-Face, the Nicky No Boats, the Black BHN, and the Tax Work Less, Tax Wealth More will be, I guess, going into production from today or tomorrow or the next day. And I've asked for them to be expedited as much as possible. Hopefully we'll have them by mid, or what's that month? November, that one. Hopefully we'll have them by mid-November. I've also ordered enamel pins. Oh, should I show you those? Chewie? They're kind of cool, actually. Talk amongst yourselves. Nothing
I
to
actually
see
haven't seen the enamel pins. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay. Let's do the enamel pins as well. They're not the enamel pins. They're just the like the drafts of them. It's really interesting actually. So if it doesn't have a border, they actually do enamel in the border, and then they screen print anything that's not in the border. I'll show you exactly what I mean when I get to this. There we go. Enamel pins. I'll just open them all up. Open. There we go. They'll all pop up somewhere. So, oh, they didn't. Of course they didn't, because why would they? So, here's an example of the enamel pins. So that's the enamel pin, right? Got that? That's the enamel. See, it's within the borders. So if it's got a boundary around it, like there's a boundary around the beard, so it's around the beard. So that black will be the boundary and the brown will be the enamel. And then they put them through a screen printer and there's the beard bits. So that's how it works. So we've got Pat and Chewie. What else have we got? We've got, of course, we have to have, they're all turning up on the wrong screen, aren't they? Chewie Fufu. We're having Nicky No Boats. We're having the classic BHN. And we're having for our IRD working friends. And this one as well. So there you go. That's the enamels. So they're being made as well. And I can't remember the date they're supposed to be here. But, you know, I want to say before Christmas for everything. But, yeah, that 25-day plus 45 days is a bit of a tight turnaround for Christmas. Fingers crossed. But they've said sort of middle to end of... I mean, maybe we can even, once I get an order, like if I get an estimation of a tracking number and we know they're a week away, maybe we can start doing a pre-order sale before Christmas. And then as soon as they turn up, because they've all got individual boxes as well. A couple of super chats before we go. Peter Syme, hasta la vista, Pablo Chocolate Bar.
I have so many bars of chocolate.
Tiffany says death by murder, much prefer life by birth. And Arvid says Bob Villain. Well, that's the side.
I have checked. I checked. There's an app that you can get called Bands in Town that just tells you every band that's playing in the area that you're going to be in. So I was like, oh, there'll be loads of stuff happening in London. There's actually not. Bob Villain's not playing. A bunch of other bands that I'm into are not playing while I'm there. I miss a band called The Hives by 2 weeks. And I'm a little bit gutted about that. For people that haven't heard this band and are just hearing the name Murder by Death, looking at my whole aesthetic and going, it must be some horrible metal band, I want you to hold that in your thought, and when this video finishes, I want you to type in Murder by Death, Black Velvet Cloak, and turn it up. It's not metal. You're not going to fucking annihilate your neighbors. But it is one of the big reasons that I'm going to London, for that one band playing that one song. It is that good.
Very good. All right, team. I will be back on Monday night with a mystery guest. Ooh, someone. I'm not sure who. It'll be someone. We'll figure it out over the next few days. And other than that, Chewie, have a good time. I'm sure we'll hear from you over there. We might keep an eye on your Facebook page and sure you'll be putting photos and stuff up on the Insta or whatever. We might have a look at your bits and pieces.
Keep Discord up to date and stuff like that as well. Yeah.
All right, team.
Have a great time.
Thank you for being with us tonight. I don't apologize because some people found, the subject matter of some conversation tonight to be a bit trying. It's what we do. It's what we do. We don't just, so often, Chewie, we're just a good news outlet, aren't we? We never have bad news. It's always just good news with us. So thank you for being with us tonight. The kids are in tomorrow night, and then I'll be back Monday night with a special guest from 9 p.m. for the next edition. Oh, and this weekend I think is the Hikoi across the Harbour Bridge, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
I think it is. So if you haven't so far, maybe you'd like to like and subscribe the YouTube page and or the Facebook page. There's a chance I may jump on live on Saturday afternoon to see if there's any feeds around there to see what's going on. So subscribe to whatever platform you're watching us on, and we might see you on Saturday. If we don't, we'll see you on Monday for the next edition of Big Hairy News. Nothing else really from me. Anything from you as you head off for 3 weeks, Chewie?
Remember me. Remember me, family. I'll be back soon. Don't forget Papa.
All right. We'll catch you all from Monday. Have a good weekend, whānau. Be safe. Be safe. See you soon. Hooroo.
Cheers, fam.